Okay, this is going to be a semi-hard video to understand because what I'm about to tell you is that in Pokemon Red, Blue, and then Yellow, there were originally supposed to be 190 Pokemon, not 150 plus Mew for 151. Basically, this has been confirmed because uh, one of the people who designed Pokemon, who was in the design team, his name was Ken, I guess, Sugimori. He confirmed that Rhydon was the first Pokemon ever designed and made. So there's also an index list for those who know like how to get lists and hexes and all that stuff for Pokemon. And the index list also confirms that Rhydon had the hex of 01 and he was first. So what Ken said is backed up by the index list. So basically, Rhydon was the first made, then Kangaskhan and Nidoran, Male, and Clefairy, and I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I will link it in the description. But throughout that list, there's Pokemon that were taken out, but some data was left, basically, which is garbage data. And basically, that's how you get the missing go glitch, which is missing number, obviously. But that's how you get that glitch because it has data and the game can't read the data, so it gives you the missing number, which is missing no. And those missing numbers were the Pokemon that were taken out that are in Gold, Silver, and Crystal versions, because some of the Pokemon from Gold, Silver, and Crystal were supposed to be in the Red, Blue, and Yellow, the first generation games, but they were taken out, like I just said, so that's what creates the missing no glitch, because their data is no longer in there since they were taken out and moved to the second generation games. I have some notes here that I'm reading. Basically, oh yeah, the creator of Mew, the 151st Pokemon, Mew wasn't even supposed to be in the game, but basically he had an autograph table, and he had a translator there since he's Japanese, and his name was Shigeki Morimoto. Basically, he was asked, are red, well, alright, keep in mind this is Japan, so it was red and green versions. Basically, Shigeki was asked, were red and green, did they originally have 190 Pokemon? Because the 39 or 40 that were taken out were put in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So were there supposed to be 190? And the translator asked him, and he replied with yes. And he was actually shocked that, someone figured this out. And then the question about Ho-Oh was asked, because Ho-Oh appears in the first episode of Pokemon in the anime, which is kind of confusing because, Ho-Oh wasn't in the first generation of Pokemon games. And so Shigeki was asked, was Ho-Oh made for red and green first? And basically, Ho-Oh was the 49th Pokemon ever made on the index list, and he appears in the first generation of anime shows, but basically, Ho-Oh was there. It wasn't made for red and green, but it was just there with no intention of keeping it in. So they showed it in the anime, but it had no intention of being in the games. But instead, they moved it to the second generation where Ho-Oh and Lugia appear to be at. I will link stuff in the description for you so you can check out the index list yourself. And it's actually really interesting, to me at least, my personal opinion. But let me know what you all think about this. And keep in mind, it has been confirmed there were supposed to be 190. But what do you think about the creators taking about like 39 or 40 or whatever Pokemon out of the first generation and putting them in the second? Because I'll tell you right now, some Pokemon that were supposed to be in Generation 1 were Tyranitar, Girafarig, I think Cyndaquil and Chikorita, and Quillfish, and Marill. So, what do you think first gen would be like with those Pokemon in there? Now, yes, Tyranitar is dark and rock or ground or whatever he is, but first generation games they didn't have a dark type, so it would have been just either pure rock or ground. But how do you think those Pokemon would have affected the first generation games, and why do you think they wanted to move some Pokemon out of the first generation games to the second? Now, keep in mind though, there is limited data on the games back then, like 1996 or 7, whenever Red and Blue were made. There's only limited amount of space for that technology at that time period. And so Mew basically was added as the 151st because they ran out of room on the cartridges, I guess, the ROMs, but then they figured out, well, we have a little bit of extra room, so let's put Mew in there instead of Girafarig or any of the other ones that were taken out. So that's why we have Mew in Generation 1, and you have to do that little glitch to get Mew. But yeah, I mean, just discuss this in the comments below. Alright guys, thanks.